Foul, says Morris Condon.
Yeah, Cork did everything right there in the initial challenge. Joe Bergen went down the ball, was hoping that he was going to get a little nudge him in the free. Cork's around him, he loses possession. The second man goes down, Paul Conroy goes to pick it up, and a simple free given away. You can see there, Cork did very well. Everyone stood up, fast hands in and out. He has to throw the ball away, or else he'd be done for over carrying. Gives away, and that's an easy free. And Noel O'Leary, I think, diving on top of it. And again, it just gives Michael Meehan the chance here to, you know, narrow the gap down a little bit more.
Another score from Michael Meehan. It's his 4th of the night, and Galway are very much in this game. This gap down to 4 points, and 15 minutes played in the second half. This is what Joe Kernan was looking for.
Yeah, exactly. And as I said, in the middle of the park, they're not looking to catch the ball. They're breaking it forward in on top of Joe Bergen, who's playing the centre forward. And, you know, after what I said earlier on, Joe Bergen has actually given Gerard Spillane plenty of it here in the second half. He certainly thought it would be the other way around.
And Joe Bergen certainly more familiar with the role from the half-forward line back into midfield, and he's exerting a real influence in this second period. Just a little warning there from the referee to Michael Meehan. And Cork have really gone out of this game in the last few minutes. Paul Kerrigan running deep, but he was shielded all the way by Donald O'Neill. O'Neill's opposite number, Ray Carey, looks to bring it out. He's dispossessed there by Dequire. Dequire looked for support out wide. Paul Conroy was there. And Michael Shields breaking out for Cork. And again, taking a lot out of the ball. Pierce O'Neill. And now there's plenty of space for Owen Cotter, making his debut tonight. The UCC panellist. Paul Kerrigan, that's a clever run, and it's an early ball in towards John Hayes. And Kerrigan has continued his run. He's still going. Looks towards the post, but the Galway defence refused to give up. David Ryan, he stayed with him.
Yeah, Paul Kerrigan is more comfortable running from deep, and you can see he was involved in that move twice. He got on the end of it again. There was a little bit of an opening there. There was a window for him, but Galway managed just to snuff it out and make the shot harder for him. You can just see it there. The Galway players coming across, and it should have been a score, but Galway stood firm. That just keep them, keep Galway within touching distance. Still only 4 points in it.
You have to go all the way back to 1992 for the last league win. Back in the day when that man was taken to the field, Larry Tompkins of Cork, what a legend on Leeside he is. 18 years since a league win for the Tribesmen over the Rebels. And they looked all but beaten after Pierce O'Neill opened the scoring in the second half. They've roared back into this game. They're all at sea though in defence. Paddy Kelly still going. Just slowed up there, and he opted to bounce the ball off a very sandy surface. It didn't come back to him.
That's exactly what we were saying. You can't afford to bounce that ball, particularly in close proximity to opposition players. You know, it's not going to come back up to you as easy as you think.
And Gerard Spillane was being fouled there. Takes it quickly to Kassan. Alan O'Connor for Cork. And Paddy Kelly back in the game now, seeing a lot of the ball. Daniel Goulding skins his man brilliantly. Damien Burke the victim there. Goulding still going, bearing down a goal. Daniel Goulding looks for the net. Not quite sure what option he wanted to take, but the result is a point for the year-old man.
Yeah, he's deceptively fast, and it constantly looked like Galway were just going to close him down and catch up with him there, and a lovely turn inside onto his left foot, and it opened up for him. I think when we see it again there was a smidgen of a chance of a goal there, but he opted to take the point. Maybe it was a safer option, but Goulding is very accurate in front of goal. He's beginning to come into this game. Yeah, I can see it here. He just couldn't catch him. Yeah, there was a player coming across, and Finian Hanley was coming across maybe in the block, so maybe a safer option to put it over the bar and just give them a little bit of breathing space. Back to 5 points again. A
very welcome score for Cork as Galway make the change. Matthew Clancy on at right half forward for Conor Healy. Very experienced man, Clancy, another member of that All-Ireland winning panel. It's Paul Conroy still for Galway. Joe Bergen opts to go long. Michael Meehan underneath that. It's broken down by Cork, and successfully so. Noel O'Leary. Clever ball to Alan O'Connor. And here comes John Hayes. And Cork with their tails up again. They have endured a difficult few minutes, but they're back in it now. Gerard Spillane. Again, the gap opens up in front of him, but he fails to take it first time. That's a clever ball by Spillane down towards Colm O'Neill, and again he opts to shoot from way out. Very ambitious And Owen O'Conneilla had all the time in the world to decide what he was doing with that one. He looks down the right-hand touchline, and Galway win the free. First touch of the evening for Matthew Clancy.
Yeah, it was an ambitious shot as well. Again, giving possession away very easy like that. Colm O'Neill went for the score. We know he's very comfortable shooting off his left foot, and he knows what a posts are, but can't afford at this level of football to drop the ball into the keeper's hands and just concede possession. Caught in an overlap up to the end of the pitch within seconds.
Blake, and that's a clever ball. Galway building now from deep. It's well played there. Gary Sice long in towards Michael Meehan.
That is a brilliant score. Gary Sice just made that look so. He's only on the Páirc. 4-second touch. Great ball inside. Michael Meehan made a dart and run 2 or 3 yards. You know, great ball inside. You can't ask for better than that. Michael Meehan always knows what the posts are. That's one of the scores of the night. Excellent. And it just again brings the score down. It brings the score back to 4 points and keeps Galway in touching distance.
It's a second from play for Meehan, a 5th in all. And Gary Sice, a member of that Cork contingent, Joe Kernan, very much happy to see them back. They're very welcome into this Galway panel again. Here comes Alan O'Connor. Donegal O'Connor. And O'Connor shows a clean pair of heels to Diarmuid Blake. It's with Colm O'Neill. O'Neill shrugs off the challenger and swings it over.
Great score again. He made it all himself. Took the ball inside, and you know the addition of being very comfortable off both feet. You know he's a player that's primarily left-footed. He took on his man, could come inside on the right, and made it look so easy there. You know Finley Hanley, he's marking the Galway full-back, is a tough, deep defender. He doesn't allow players to get around too easy, and made it all the better for Colm O'Neill. Great score.
Broken down the midfield by Galway. Cork bursting through. Pearce O'Neill yet again. And he'd Alan O'Connor outside him. He wasn't allowed to release the pass.
Yeah, great run by Pearce O'Neill. Paul Kerrigan took it up, shipped the ball off to Pearce O'Neill at pace. And that's the difference. Breaking the gain line, puts Galway in the back foot. And Kerrigan had actually gone on himself looking for the return, but the free was given away.
And Morris Condon showing another yellow card this time. It is for Diarmuid Blake for that foul on Pearce O'Neill.
Yeah, it's not a cynical thing to do, I suppose, but still probably better off in terms of Cork had to run it on there, and it's probably easier to give the free away from out there and make it a little bit more difficult rather than, you know, giving Cork the goal chance.
Cork boss Conor Coonahan making another change. Noel O'Leary makes way. He can be happy with his night's work, his first appearance of the season. As that free just about makes it over the bar there from Colm O'Neill. Conor O'Driscoll, the new man.
Nice score, Colm O'Neill. He made it look so easy, and thought he was just going to drift outside the post, but you know, very confident of his left foot. Good player, Cork IT last year and this year. All-Ireland under 21 winning player of the year for Cork that year when he won the All-Ireland under 21 title. You know, very comfortable last year when he came into that side. Topped it off with a great goal in the All-Ireland final.
There's so many of these Cork players bringing a winning mentality into the senior ranks. 2 All-Ireland under 21 titles in 3 years. Alan O'Connor bends, turns. His midfield partner, Pearce O'Neill. How often have we seen this tonight? Pearce O'Neill, same result, same attack.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And Pearce O'Neill is just coming off the shoulder every time. There's an opening there in that centre-back position. You know, Galway are just going to have to short in, or you know, stand in that hole, short up, and not allow Pearce O'Neill to drive through. But you know, again, the correct option, just popped it over the bar. But you know, it's from the Cork kick out, Galway are breaking the ball back in on top of the Cork half back line. But they're not winning their own possession, and this has been a problem for them over the last couple of years, nearly since Kevin Walsh has left this Galway side, that they need a primary ball winner on their own kickouts.
That's 1-2 now for Pearce O'Neill, and he was soaking gulpfuls of air in there, and not surprisingly given the amount of ground he's covered tonight. Joe Bergen and Ger Spillane clash. The ball breaks for Paul Kerrigan. He's in a foot race with Donal O'Neill. Daniel Goulding doesn't get the benefit of Kerrigan's pass, falling foul of the hand pass rule again.
Yeah, both teams, I think, have been well aware of the hand pass show tonight. It's actually been quite good. It's only the third or fourth time we've seen that happening, but Kerrigan, a little pop pass, we just see it here. He nearly had his fist closed there, I think, Dave. You know, it came off his wrist more than off his hand.
Matthew Clancy for Galway. It's good play, Galway looking to hang on in this game through Gary Sice. Nicky Joyce, he's already kicked 7 points tonight. Back to Killian DeQuire. Paul Conroy, he's gone out of this game in the last few minutes. It's Gary O'Donnell of Tuam. Long ball in towards Michael Meehan and Bergen, who's back on the square. And Meehan opts to fist it over, but it breaks beautifully there to Gary Sice, who found himself in the perfect position for Galway.
Oh, excellent, and that just makes a game of it now for the last 20 minutes. Again, that's the new rule. As you can see, you're allowed to be in this. Once that ball has been kicked, you're allowed to be in the square.
Has there been an issue there? Has Morris Condon seen something here?
He's going into his umpires. Or is he going into the injured player?
Well, the Galway players are going back to their defensive positions in the hope that goal has been registered, and he has indeed given it, which makes it a 4-point game entering the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, and a little bit of luck there as well. You know, Joe Bergen on the edge of the square. Michael Meehan looking to tap it over the bar. Comes back, Gary Sice. Perfect time, and he'd say, great score, great finish, and just makes a bit of a game of it again.
Well, Gary Sice was the right man in the right place at the right time. And what a fill-up that is now for Galway. 4 points between them. And the 2 points by no means in the bag for Cork yet. The two number 9s under this dropping ball. It's Conroy against O'Neill, and Conroy wins out. Matthew Clancy. Beautiful skill by Clancy. To Donald O'Neill. He looked for the early ball into the full forward line, but it was picked off by Paddy Gassan. Kerrigan to O'Connor. Looks left, and he sees Michael Shields, the full-back, looking to make his way into Galway territory. And that's quality defending from Finian Hanley, but he's given the ball away. O'Connor kept his run going to his namesake Donica. And here's Ger Spillane in acres of space. It's a quality run from Colin Hayes, John Hayes even. Hayes looks and turns, and the ball drops into the arms of Owen O'Conneilla. You get the impression there's still a few twists and turns left in this National Football League Division 1 clash. 117 to 113, plenty of scores, plenty of entertainment. It's Gary O'Donnell. He looked towards Michael Meehan. The ball is broken to Galway again, but Ray Carey cleans up, and he's fouled. A little bit of afters there, probably the first we've seen of something unsavoury tonight. Ken O'Halloran and Michael Meehan just get themselves a little better acquainted. Yeah, it's been a very clean game. Both teams want to play football all the way through, and a little bit of afters there as well. I think the referee's just going to look after that there. But the difference there in Galway's last attack was Gary O'Donnell took the ball a pace off the shoulder, broke the gain line, made 20 yards, and kicked a long ball into the full forward line. You know, if Galway can just do that for the last 10-15 minutes or so, they could be in a shout, get that ball into the danger zone as quick as possible. And a yellow card for Joe Bergen, given his involvement in that little confrontation. There is a Galway player prone on the ground at the moment, and the ball is in Galway territory. They launch a counter-attack. It's Matthew Clancy. Still Galway come. They look long towards Bergen, who's stationed right in the goal mouth. Brilliantly fielded by Bergen. He's got to Puer for support. He doesn't take it. Bergen still going. Looks back. And now it's to Puer again, and makes no mistake. A cracking score from Galway. That is a great score from Killian Puer, but made by Joe Bergen. What's interesting is that Joe has seen an awful lot of ball out around midfield, and he's been put into full forward now. When he's comfortable, he's sort of warmed up, and he's well in the game, and he's going for those balls with a bit more venom when he's going into full forward. So maybe it might be an idea for Galway to allow him out around the middle of the park and then shift him inside when he's actually comfortable and he's in the game and he's confident and is more comfortable in possession. It's a great score, great take with Joe Bergen, surrounded with 2 or 3 players who was well aware of the players running off him. You know, Matthew Clancy, sharp hands and a great ball inside, and a good finish from Killian Puer. Just keeps Galway within touching distance. You know, and that goal certainly has changed the format of this game. Well, Galway looked to be out of the game earlier in this second half, but they scored 1-1 in the last 2 minutes, and now there's just a goal between them. We've seen the last contribution from Nicky Joyce. It looks like a touch of cramp or a problem with his hamstring as Galway make a substitution. And Cork, this game toing and froing here in Páirc Rinn. Still plenty left in it. Pierce O'Neill. Owen Cotter for Cork. And Danny Cummins is the man who's entered the fray in place of Nicky Joyce. Here comes Ger Spillane. Runs into traffic. Paul Kerrigan on the right foot. The ball swings across the face of goal. Daniel Goulding keeps it in play. Alan O'Connor making the run in towards the square, but Goulding still going off the post, but unfortunately for Cork, they don't get similar fortune that Galway enjoyed off a similar position. Paul Conroy breaks out for Galway. Just a goal between them. And it's taken a while, but Galway really warming to the task here in Páirc Rinn. Michael Meehan just can't gain that one. Breaks to Ger Spillane, and he's fouled by Meehan. And the crowd really getting involved in this game now. It's a cracking game of league football we have in our hands. Good work there from Conor O'Driscoll, his first involvement. John Hayes back to Donncha O'Connor. Steps off the right. Swings it over with the bad foot. A cracking score by the Ballydesmond man. His fourth of the evening.
Yeah, that's the score Cork needed. John Hayes made it. He looked like he was going to dart down the line. Flicked it back inside for Donncha O'Connor. Look, that's lovely skill. Pull the ball, basketball style, up and over your man. Not too many players and forwards in the game can actually do that without over-carrying the ball. Pulled it up over his man. Great score off his weaker right foot. You know, that's the score Cork needed.
O'Connor normally associated with dead ball expertise, but all four of his scores have come from play tonight. Diarmaid Blake for Galway. He's tackled by Colm O'Neill. Fairly blatant there, and Galway now 4 behind once again. It's a 2-score game. Finian Hanley breaking out of defence. Probably for the first time this evening we've seen him that far advanced. Paul Conroy. And Killian Duquare just not getting his hands to that. Alan O'Connor still going late in the game. He was held up by Matthew Clancy illegally. Conor O'Driscoll for Cork. He's met by Danny Cummins, a stiff challenge, but Paddy Kelly. Goulding shows very well. He's surrounded by 3 defenders. He gets past all 3 of those and wins a free.
Yeah, that's the difference when you have someone like Daniel Goulding. He's confident. He didn't touch the ball for maybe 10 or 15 minutes of the first half. He slowly builds up momentum. You know, he's not looking at the sideline to see if he's going to be taken off. He's comfortable in his own ability, and you know, he's slowly come into this game. He's kicked a few phenomenal scores. 2 yards of space. That's all he needs. Ball into his chest, takes a man on, simple free, and again, it should put it back to 5 points for Cork when he scored this one.
Well, Damien Burke perhaps not left with much option but to take Daniel Goulding down there, and it's the easier freeze for Patrick Kelly. It's 1-2 for him.
Goulding has been impressive in the second half. I think it was the same against Kerry, you know, in the last National League game when they were down here, when they beat Kerry. He didn't touch the ball for the first 10 or 15 minutes. He ended up with 7 points in play. You know, phenomenal player. This is very comfortable in his own ability.
And Damien Burke receiving a yellow card there as Conor Coonahan continues to empty his bench, and what a man he can bring on, Fintan Gould, a man who's been there and done that for Cork. He replaces Alan O'Connor in midfield. That's a regular substitution so far this season. Gould just not managing to force himself into the team. And the gap is 5 once again as Cork gaining the ascendancy. It's a first touch there for Fintan Gould. And Gould just can't take that ball. He was going full pelt. Is there a way back for Galway in this game? You get the sense they will need a goal. Michael Meehan turns his man, Michael Shields. And back inside to the left foot. Clever play from the corner forward. And a familiar result.
Yeah, that's a great score. When you look at this closely, remember seeing it in replay, the man all over it, but Michael Meehan, you know, holds him off with one hand, takes it into his chest, turns inside, control off both feet, a little shimmy inside, and a great score. But again, it came from Matthew Clancy. He looked up from the midfield position, saw the dart and run 3 or 4 yards from Michael Meehan out to the wing, and a great ball inside into his chest, and that's the difference. Quick ball into the full forward line.
Yeah, Galway will need to bring the arrears down to a single score before we reach injury time. The ball will go dead at some stage and the referee will blow it up. Here comes Paul Conroy. Goes long. It's in towards Michael Meehan, and he wins his own ball as he does so often. Hint of a high tackle. Back to Joe Bergen. He saw the challenge come in from Fintan Gould, took his eye off it. Paddy Kelly for Cork. And Cork will look to run down the clock as best as they possibly can. Pearse O'Neill. Ger Spillane. He looks up, plenty of space. Colm O'Neill. The pacey corner forward bearing down on goal for Cork. And David Riley is fouled.
Yeah, Dave Riley's showing a bit of pace there to try and, you know, get something out of the game in the last couple of minutes. So, you know, Colm O'Neill a bit ambitious from the wing, dropping the ball short into the keeper's hands, giving possession straight back to Galway, who have a chance to build.
A yellow card there for John Hayes. A second. He was booked for a rather dubious challenge earlier on to David Riley. And perhaps two fairly innocuous challenges have seen him sent to the sideline earlier than he would have hoped. We are in injury time, but we'll see nothing more from John Hayes tonight.
Yeah, not too much in it, I think. Yeah, you know, he tried to use his arm and probably a little bit high, but certainly to me it didn't warrant the yellow card.
Danny Cummins for Galway, two challengers coming in, and they did enough to put the man up. 3 minutes at a time for Galway to turn this game around, perhaps maybe to eke out a draw, but they will need at least 2 scores.
Yeah, and I think Michael Mean is limping inside as well. That last ball that went in, he passed off to Joe Bergen a couple of minutes ago. He wasn't comfortable to shoot himself, and he's been their marquee forward today. If they are going to get something out of the game, they're going to have to try and get it into him.
James Masters coming in for Colm O'Neill. James Masters so often the fulcrum of the Cork attack over the years, and he's getting, what, 90 seconds at the end of this game.
Yeah, what a player, and a lot of counties would love to have him on their side as well. Sweet left foot, and coming on for a very similar player, Colm O'Neill, very like him.
Here come Galway. David Riley showing great pace. He takes the first of those 2 scores they need. And is there a sting in the tail?
Oh, could be, yes. David Riley for me has had a great game. Young player, second season. You know, driving forward at pace at every chance he gets. And there's nothing worse as a half forward when a man gets a run on you and you're chasing back the whole time. And you know, he made a score a couple of minutes ago, and he's had to kick that one well over the bar. And, you know, he drives right at the crossbar. He's got either going to get fouled or he's going to get a score. And, you know, another tough teak defender for Galway, and that's what Joe Kieran is looking for.
One of Galway's most impressive performers tonight. He's certainly shown Kieran what he's made of. Can Galway do the unthinkable here in front of the Cork support? Here they come again. Gary Sice, the goal scorer, down on top of Michael Meehan. He picks it off well. Looks for a bit of space. And unfortunately for Galway, that drops to the left and wide, and is that their last chance gone?
That's I'd say the first thing he's done wrong all night, Michael Meehan. He has won every ball that has gone on top of him. High ball and low ball. He's done everything. He's been very honest. And he's kicked some great scores off the ground from frees, and he's shown for every play, everything. Just unfortunate there with that one. I think there was a sniff of a goal chance, and he sort of copped it then. Yeah, looked inside and had to pop off his weaker right foot. If he has a weaker right foot, that is unlucky.
Galway not looking like they will just fall short tonight, but the second half performance, is that at least a major positive Joe Kieran can bring back to the West with him?
Yeah, absolutely. Joe is going to be much more pleased with that second half performance, but at least they drove at we won't speak too soon.
Let's not write them off just yet. Gary Sice from Joe Bergen inside on. There was the match right there and then in the hands of Danny Cummins, and he looks up to the heavens. What an opportunity.
I can't believe it. That's great ball inside. Gary Sice did well, looked up. There was a man coming down on top of him, giving him a Paddy Kazan was coming in, but still have to try and keep that low and hit the target at least. You know, it is a point.
Well, a 2-point lead, the most dangerous lead in Gaelic games, because the ball has gone AWOL for the moment, but the referee will give Galway at least one more opportunity to get this winner. A goal would get them a 1-point victory, because the ball needs to go dead here in Páirc Rinn. Vital that Galway get their hands on this kick out.
Yeah, they need this one, and it's a white ball. This is interesting now, a white ball from a yellow ball, but anyway, no, they need this, they need possession.
For a second there, the game had the look of championship football. It's won by Paddy Kelly. And we are well into the 4th minute of added time. Cork really just need to kick this ball over the sideline, but they keep the ball in play. Donncha O'Connor.
They have to kick this dead, Dave. They kick the ball dead, it's game over. They have to give possession away.
Will O'Connor look back on that moment with regret tonight?
The referee won't blow till the ball goes out of play.
Galway have to work it the whole way downfield. They do need a goal. Exciting times here in Páirc Rinn. It's Barry Cullen and still driving forward for the tribesmen. Not surprising, looks to go long. Galway need to win this. Bergen is there. On the ball, just evading the clutches of Matthew Clancy, and this time Cork do see sense. They put the ball over the touchline. In the end, it is a close, hard-fought victory for Cork, who make it 3 wins from 3. in the National Football League Division 1. Conor Coonahan knows his men have been in a very tough contest tonight. Perhaps the most significant score coming just before the break, a goal from the rampaging Pearse O'Neill. He grabbed 1-2, but Galway, despite looking very much out of proceedings well into the second half here, they were brought right back into it. A cracking goal from Gary Sice. A little fortunate perhaps the ball breaking off the post after Michael Meehan just failed to fist the ball over the bar. But in the end, Galway will take a moral victory back to the west perhaps. It's Cork who take the 2 points. They're 3 from 3 at Páirc Rinn. It's Cork a goal in 19, Galway 117.
Thank you, Shannon, and thank you, David. Yeah, well, we thought Cork looked comfortable at half-time, but Gary Sice's goal really gave us a fantastic last 10 minutes to that match. Cork win by 2.
Think you know your GAA? Save it for Ladbrokes.com.
And to Ireland, that's Tipperary Kilkenny take 3. We're hopeful. We're at Stamford Bridge from 4 on Satan to 1. The holders Chelsea take on Stoke. 4 o'clock kickoff, as I said. Same time over on Satan to Ireland, you can watch live Magners League. We're in Cardiff, and good opportunity for Leinster given Munster's slip up tonight. And we'll stay with Magners League then, full deferred coverage of Edinburgh Ospreys from 6 p.m. Well, Cork got 2 points in the last 10 minutes of that match, and it turned out that they were the difference between the sides. There were insurance scores, even though it didn't look likely at the time, because Cork at one stage of that match 9 points to the good, 7 points clear at half-time, were almost run down in the shadow of the post, and much the happier of the two sides to get off the pitch at Páirc Rinn in the end. Galway mounting a fairly serious comeback to get within 2. But I suppose we have to say Cork 119 is a decent tally, and they did have a couple of little periods when they tacked on score after score after score, Paul, and eventually that was the insurance they needed to get over the line.
Yeah, it was, and it have to be said, a great contest in the end. It looked at one stage, obviously, as if they were going to run away with the game, but you know, Galway made it into a really good contest and played some wonderful football. I thought there was lots that were very good about the game in the second half in particular. There are some great scores, some great variations in tactics and in play as well. I think Joe Kernan got his tactics right at the start of the second half. He obviously gave instructions to Barry Cullinan, break everything, and got the momentum going towards the Cork goal. Full forward line, Galway full forward line stayed inside and gave the Cork full back line
Michael Meehan was a standout player.
Michael Meehan and Nicky Joyce as well took some great scores. Joe Bergen when he drifted in as well. You know, lots of questions to be asked about the Cork full back line as well. Like the last day against Kerry, they were under severe pressure. Today they were under severe pressure as well. But then, you know, the quality came through, and their running game certainly, Galway were not able to cope with the running game.
Pearse O'Neill was, I mean, ultimately his scores were the difference. What did he get, 1-4, was it? But I mean, this was just, it showed the movement. When Cork were flowing, they looked good.
They looked very good, yeah. Their movement, their pace, their angles of running were exceptional all through. And Pearse O'Neill making his runs from midfield, he has pace, we know that. He's a very strong, direct runner. You know, here's another example. He's straight through the middle and put Barry Cullinan, who had a good game in the second half, under pressure. He was chasing him all the time. When you have a player like that with that type of power and pace, siding kind of through the middle, and who can finish as well, it's very hard to stop them. And that would be a concern for Joe Kernan, in that the Galway defence allowed the Cork players to run through the middle much too easily. In his old days with Armagh, you'd never expect to see something like that. Here's O'Neill again. He just and sides to the middle again. And again, what we noticed there was Cork much quicker at the restarts. They got a free there, and they were alert, moving very, very quickly. And he had a fine game. I think he finished with 1-2, 1-3, and great performance.
And from both feet as well. Yeah, no, he certainly showed the whole set of skills. But Galway as well, I mean, they mightn't have scored as many from play. They relied a little bit more on the place ball, but at the same time they showed a variety in their scoring, and most of the forwards got in the act ultimately. Yeah,
well, I think the fact that they got so many scores for frees, they got 5 scores for frees in the first 50 minutes of the second half, was due to the fact that Cork's in discipline in defence as well, but Galway were winning the ball out in front. There's a superb, you know, point by Nicky Joyce, wins it out in front, holds off his man, and back onto his right foot. He had a fine game, Nicky Joyce, caused a lot of problems for Cork, kicked some great points from frees, and you know, they varied their game in the second half. This was a wonderful score from Michael Meehan, who had a terrific game. He's just, you know, on top form. For the last probably 18 months, he's been playing his best football. Been heavily criticised for a few years, maybe not delivering as people expect him to, but I think he's always been a top-class player in my book. And again, variation here, a high ball in. Joe Bergen had drifted inside, and they got the goal from this. A bit lucky, but Gary Sice picks up the rebound, mops it up very, very well. Again, Michael Meehan on the end of it here tries to get the point, and that put them really back into the game. And
only 3 points in it at that stage then, yeah.
Absolutely, and you know, here was the chance at the end, you know, 2 points down, chance for glory, and Danny Cummins blasted there over the bar. Probably a bit more experience, might have just maybe held on to it or tried to go low, but you know, Cork deserved it in the end, but great credit to Galway for putting it up to them.
Absolutely. I mean, if Danny Cummins had managed to get that in, it would have been a drawn game, 119 apiece. It ended 119 to 117. Cork victorious. Let's take a quick word from Conor Coonan.
Conor, in the end, it's another 2 points. It's 3 from 3, but maybe towards the end of the second half, you were made work a little harder than you're anticipating.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose, look, from our point of view, it was a very hot and cold performance. We looked quite good at times, but we looked absolutely dreadful in it other times, and you know, you wouldn't get a result another day with that type of performance, and you certainly wouldn't get it next week in Omagh.
All 6 of your forwards scored tonight. You racked up another big score, so certainly at that end of the field, things working out. But as you say, there was a little too much conceded this evening.
Yeah, but we're giving away soft scores at the other end. That's not primarily backs problems. I think, you know, we've been leaving people out too easily, and you know, they're running at our defenders, and that makes it very difficult. So, you know, overall, from a 15-man performance defensively, it would have been very disappointing. I suppose positive, as you said, we did rack up big scores.
You're back up in Ulster next weekend. You've already beaten Monaghan and Scottstown, Omagh, Tyrone this day week. It's a very difficult place to go. And are you telling us that on tonight's form, a dramatic improvement is required?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I mean, it's a different kettle of fish altogether going to Omagh. But look, we're looking forward to that now. It's another game. We've 2 points in the bag here tonight, and we look forward to that because, you know, we go back now knowing that we have a lot of improvement to make.
Is it almost a positive that, you know, despite the 3 wins from 3, there's plenty to work on and a lot to concentrate the minds over the next 7 days?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Look, we're in the month of March. We're not going to get too excited about it, but, you know, we're looking for a level of performance, and we probably didn't get it there tonight.
Thanks for your time, Conor.
Conor Coonan, okay, yeah, Senan made the point in commentary at half-time, just coming up to half-time actually, he was saying the challenge for Cork was whether or not they were going to push on, and I mean, it became clear in the second half that Cork were struggling to actually kill the game off. Is this a theme that's overdone, or do you think there's some substance to that kind of worry amongst Cork supporters, that they just lack that absolute rapier to kill off the opposition?
Yeah, I think there's some validity in that, in those comments, and we've seen it over the last couple of years. Here's a great example now. Great play by Daniel Goulding, cuts through on goal, leaves the Cork defenders in his wake, but at a crucial stage, you know, could have put it into the net.
That's when they were 4 or 5 points up, so it was comfortable. You reckon he should have gone for the corner?
I think so. I think if Cork want to be, if they want to be All-Ireland champions, they're not too far away from that. They need to have that killer instinct, and when they have those chances, and they get a lot of those chances because they have that ability to run through and to create those one-on-one situations with the goalkeeper, and more often than not they take the point. And I think they should, you know, at particular stages have the confidence now at the stage of development that they're at to go for goal in those situations. I think if he put that in the back of the net, it would have knocked the stuffing out of Galway and the game would have been over at that stage. But it still gave them, you know, it put them, was it 4 or 5 up at that stage? But, you know, it just gave Galway an opportunity to come back, and they nearly stole it in the end.
Goulding has a nifty turn on him, hasn't he?
He's tremendous, and again, against Kerry the last day, he got very little ball in the first half and then had a phenomenal second half, and the same again today. He was held very tightly in the first half, and then when they needed him, he has that pace, he's able to accelerate off the defender, win the ball, and he can cut away, he can turn on a sixpence, he can cut away from the defender. He had a couple of other chances, had a fist pass that hit the post as well, but tremendous player. But I think that's just one of the things that Cork need to do if they can fix that.
Get the ruthlessness.
Absolutely, at critical stages of games.
Okay, well, let's say hear from Joe Kernan. I guess he's quite pleased with his team's second half performance. Here he is.
Joe, you haven't left Páirc in with the points, but from the second half there must be plenty for you to bring back in a positive frame of mind. Back to Galway.
Yeah, we're naturally very disappointed at losing the match, but the way they played in the second half showed a lot of heart and a lot of character, and maybe with a wee bit of luck we could have stole something out of the match, which we think we would have deserved.
Were you disappointed with the first half performance? Was there a lot said at the break?
Well, it wasn't a shouting match, you know. I mean, we made a few chances ourselves. We nearly scored a goal, and then Cork went down the field and scored a point. But the goal we gave away was a great goal from a Cork point of view. But
doesn't get any easier for you now. And you've said just as early as this week that it's a work in progress that you have going on in Galway. Is it a question of performance rather than results at the moment?
Well, it's a bit of both. You know, I mean, you want to win matches at the same time, but I think the work rate on the boys today was fantastic. The first 15 minutes we frustrated Cork. We worked very well for each other. We chased, we harried, we made a few chances, but we just weren't clinical in the ones we got ourselves, and especially in the second half, we had 2 or 3 good chances near the end, which probably could have helped us get something out of the game.
And you recovered from the blow of losing Sean Armstrong so early. It looked a painful enough hamstring problem. How serious is that?
Well, you won't know for 24 hours, but it is sore at the moment, and it is worrying. It could be anything from 3 to 6 weeks, which is disappointing.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, so Joe, I suppose happy enough at this stage of the season, and I mean it's all about where he is, I guess, building, isn't it? And he's enough now to go to work with.
Well, he certainly has, yeah. He'll take a lot of confidence from that second half performance, and the players will as well, because you know, Cork are, and have been the last couple of years, probably the second best team in the country. Galway are a bit away, although every year, at the start of the year, everybody puts Galway down as one of the possibilities to make the breakthrough, because they came from nowhere in '98, and they've done it in the past.
And we saw glimpses of the quality they have tonight as well.
Correct, and they have the forwards. There's no doubt about that. They have the full forward line to do it. But I think what would worry him is, again, mobility around the middle of the field. We talked about this before the game. It is a problem. We saw it there with Pierce O'Neill running through the middle a number of times. You know, Barry Cullinan is a very